So, like Linda mentioned, I met Linda and Alicia Smith, who introduced me to this group at Goddard College, where I did my MFA in creative writing. And we did our program during COVID and, during all the things that are going on in the world right now, flooding and fires. So I wrote a lot about those things, but I also tried to focus on hope because while climate grief was really, really depressing me, especially while I was on lockdown, I also felt that returning to the forest and all the things that I love and celebrating all the beauty I wanted to hold on to fed my soul. So I have two books. I'll mostly be reading from my new book called Ordinary Light. And I got the title from after 11 days of being covered in the forest fire smoke that everybody's suffering from, coming from both of our countries, blowing all around. I remember that there was this first patch of blue light, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So we had 11 days of a huge wake-up call to get our act together. And then this moment of the sky being blue and the sun being yellow instead of red was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it felt like this gift of hope, this absolute gift of ordinary light. And so that's what I wanted to celebrate with my book. And no matter what, I've discovered one of the things I've learned about myself is that no matter where this is going, I want to be on a side of hope, not a realistic side of hope, not a pretend thing, but like a realistic sense of hope, and to focus on solutions and also to take a moment to celebrate. So this one's called Earth Medicine. When the sunlight permeates rainforest winter and blackbirds ascend from violet bark, soft clouds drift into ancient dragonflies, moving like wind across the sky. On those rare days, when the blue in the raven's wing shines in the light, go through the open door. Also, I meant to give a shout out to Linda G. Hatton from Ink Tracks Editing because she edited this book for me and it just got nominated for a BC Book Award. So I owe a lot of that to Linda's excellent editing. This one is from one of our MFA workshops, and it's called Petals and Roots. I am born of a grandmother, gentle as pink rose petals, a grandfather steeped in service, and ecosystems we thought would survive. Born of Irish and Scottish hope, and generations not comprehending that carbon dioxide emissions suffocate great-grandchildren. Born to wild yellow snapdragons with bright orange centers, and shiny beetles I set free, oatmeal and quiet, classic literature and time, Scottish ancestry in rural Quebec, big blue stem grasses and isolation, clover and honey, wasps I avoid. Every element of my grandmother, beloved Pearl Lang, where the flowers are from. I am born to wild raspberries and blueberries, garden fresh cucumber and wax green beans, cauliflower washed slowly and carefully, the everyday grace of enough, golden lentil soup on the stove, warm study food, plenty to feed relatives dropping by, almond-scented hand cream we share after doing dishes, tea from the kettle my great-grandma Lang would shine, her gift of service to her working daughter. Winters without plumbing, wearing hand-knit acrylic knits that never kept out frostbite, no matter how elaborate the patterns. That's for everyone in Vermont and Quebec, because I grew up right on that border, and the winters are brutal. And we lived on a cabin on the lake. My grandfather's wood shop I swept daily, waiting with him long mornings for turtle eggs to hatch in the sand. Summer dips in the glacial-fed lake, where he catered to injured fish near the shore, while I baked clay shapes in the sun, or swam with the turtle nearly my size. My 10th birthday, a canoe ride to watch water lilies blossom. I am born of great-grandmothers in Montreal, wanting me confirmed Anglican, and my atheist, science-loving grandfather telling me I don't have to do anything I don't want to. Although I did that because I wanted to make my great-grandmother happy. I am born to Canadian-style Chinese food in town with extra soy and salt for rare occasions like my grandma's retirement and my graduation. Today, there are eagles, echoes, and freedom, a planet to protect from the brink, its hold on me deeper than ashes. So then I wrote a bit about the pandemic starting and kind of all my anxiety about it. At the same time, we knew when the pandemic was starting, we knew that would in some ways be short-term and that the environment is our longer-term issue to take care of. But I went with I started with I just want it to be Wednesday. I found that when the pandemic started, every magazine I wrote for and worked for, I used to be on the board of directors for the Federation of BC Writers, and it felt like because we put out a magazine, we have to put out a magazine, it had to be the pandemic issue, but it felt like everything was just about make it the pandemic issue, and I felt like everyone around just needed a rest, and I felt like people needed to just be with their families and be home and relax, and I needed to unplug and just relax. So when I had about 200 emails about the pandemic all at once, I felt, it was on a Wednesday, I thought, I just want it to be Wednesday. I just want it to be Wednesday, to embrace song sparrows on the patio and watch sunlight move across crocuses, to honor voices within and to be calm one day at a time, to live these last few weeks before the end, to fall in love and finish stories, attempting peace with this resolve to live well in these times, grateful for each breath, blue sky, hummingbird, flowering rhododendron. But every email, every conversation is a pandemic alert, 200 at once. I want these last days, however many we have, to be normal, to bond wholly with them each minute and hour. Everyone rushing to capture grief in words, asking for mine, but I just want to be present to this gently unfolding middle day of the week, our regular spring birds gathering. The normalcy of Joe across the street, shoveling topsoil in his garden to fertilize summer crops. The possibility that it's okay. Permission to live simply, enjoy the wealth of books that surround me. The Diary of Anne Frank this afternoon. Healing recovery, breath, handling what we reasonably can, to cultivate value with a small number of people. I scoop handfuls of yellow split peas slowly into a silver pot, savoring each musical ping, and boil them into carrot cabbage soup with a dollop of real butter and a sprinkle of sea salt. Take time for dishes, the comfort of washing, grateful for electricity and running water. Palms and wrists relax in the hot stream, with biodegradable, fragrance-free soap bubbling in the air. The right to calm, to sabbatical, even if only a day, a week, a month. Maternity leave for self-care. Fewer atmospheric pollutants this summer, a break for the earth from the intensity of smog. I just want this to be Wednesday in the sunlight with cherry trees, to curl up in bed with the partner I'm still hoping for and tell him everything I loved about our life. Clasp hands and remember all the funny moments of our decades, knowing we are blessed to have shared it. Simple pleasures amid cherry blossoms. One of the things I loved at the start of the pandemic was that we were seeing those blue skies over Beijing, and we were seeing what can happen when we slow down and take a break from all our manufacturing. I think that was one of the beautiful things that happened, and trying to apply those lessons to the climate crisis we were talking about before we officially started. So I also think what was coming to me at the start of the pandemic is that however much time we have, everyone has the right to live it peacefully. We have the right to inner peace. We have the right not to carry more than we can, to do as much as we can progressively, but to also live our lives in balance. So I also wrote this one at the start of the pandemic, Alone and Together. And shout out to Linda G. Hatton. I think she did one of these as well. One of our colleagues, Maria Burns, invited us to write a dramatic monologue or an easygoing, hopeful monologue on Alone and Together. I open to sky, clouds and blue summer. Yield to the peace of lying still. This life I wish I'd shared with you. Surrender to solitude, creation, writing. Lying in wild daisies like I did in my 20s. Wishing you were with me, that we hadn't been cut apart. It's the kind of July day when mellow jazz drifts in windows, over neighbors watering lawns. We could almost forget there's a pandemic. Here in Vancouver, a break between bouts of wildfire smoke, water shortages, and heat waves. For a few weeks, an almost normalcy. Bird calls open time, mallards, geese, crows. The feathery lilt of cypress in wind. I garden, read, daydream in the hail of uninterrupted leisure and choice. Return to the window, commune with life, an interaction beyond these walls. We dance dreams into plays, existence a learning curve, starting and ending on gratitude. When the sky cools, I look to the sunflexions, the glass jars on the counter create on the wall, each one different, catching the light in a unique way. The black cherry jar, a mirage of diamonds, now a hummingbird angel. It's one of those days when the clouds break up into millions, an explosion of atoms into universe, and we lay orange lilies on lawns, a tribute to heroes on front lines. That was a reference to when we were banging pots and laying down flowers for the doctors and all the regular staff who were going into work to take care of all of us at home. I don't know what the States did, but in Canada there was a lot of pot banging and gathering at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. and gathering behind windows. 5-hour meditation, perfect for my back. Rest, then yoga, the relief of accomplishment. An explosion of bright color, living spirit. Oxygen released, like worlds bursting forth. Breath the sails propelling me along an ocean. Let me be longer at peace. Hope like islands of grass in the sun. Voices cycle past my window in the lightness of summer evening. Children's call signal the freedom of not having to be anywhere. The return of time. We're all ordinary these days, and there's something beautiful in that. A regular, unstyled hair and selves. A seed, stay home, stay safe. Let the eagles carry our dreams. So you can tell that was the beginning of COVID. What I've done with this book is I want to take that sense of slowing down that happened during COVID and apply it to climate change. See how much we can slow down, see how much we can, today I let my hair dry naturally, realize we don't need to run a hairdryer in a heat wave. Do all the little things that we get to do. and appreciate all the simple ways that we get to live. Like I really appreciated getting my time back in a sense when we had that 3 months to slow down, and learning that I can live much more simply and still have a meaningful life. This one was daydreaming about, I stayed home for 18 months during COVID, so aching to get down to the beach, which is just a walk down my, about a 20-minute walk, but waiting for it. So sea dreaming. I celebrate earth breathing in this rest from our exhaust, this reprieve from air travel pollution. Give thanks for all those safe from the virus, tasting clean air for the first time over Beijing. Watch in amazement as whales glide into BC Inlet, now that we've eased up on our flurry of noisy boat traffic. And when it's finally safe, walk in sunlight and cherry blossoms. Let sea wind moisturize my skin, and once again dip bare feet in the swoosh of waves over shore. So that was one of the things at the start of the pandemic in Vancouver. We actually got, I had to watch it online because I was at home, but we actually got whales returning to the harbor. And I hope that we learn from that to slow down and recognize how much our boats were keeping them out, how much our boat noise interferes with their way of life. These are all things I was observing and thinking about. And at the same time, like everyone, I'm part of our industrialized society. I'm just always hoping that we get it together to find balance. This one was by request, Each Step with the Earth. A friend gave us all a hymn, and we wrote a poem that went with the hymn. It starts with a camera taking me for strolls, teaching me to listen to the stories of flowers. And from my window on a mobile day, the clouds, journeys inner, each step with the biosphere, celebration rather than sacrifice, Easter rather than Lent. To travel great distance on foot, learn the names of local shop owners, give thanks for beaches, foliage, and clean air most days. Bend down to see cappuccino striped snails drinking rainwater from concave orange maple leaves. Help purple starfish back into the sea, allowing simplicity to heal. And I went on, and I'm going to read the positive celebratory poem, because I did go through a very depressed phase as well. But I think what got me out of it was just focusing on the beauty that was still here, like Anne Frank said, and to focus on all the beauty still around us. So this is Ferrying to Freedom, about a little trip to Bowen Island. And it was from a National Poetry Month prompt: if you could add a day to any month, what would you do with it? So Ferrying to Freedom. If I could add a day to any month, I would give it to July and see Snug Cove tomorrow. I would read Harry Potter all morning in bed, inscribe dreams in its pages, then don the coral Italian silk blouse with billowing sleeves that I paid too much for, that's in both pictures of me for this reading, and paint my nails cherry tree floral with lime leaves. I would breathe summer light, wear pink petals in my hair, and let the wind weave ocean spray through my curls. As I inhale the aroma of fresh sea salt, ferrying over to forest trails and hikes through Bowen Island rainforest. I would taste the starlight in royal blue skies, aquamarine blossoms traveling deep in the night, and live solely on my terms. So, heading into some of the other celebratory ones, this one is Sunflowers, dedicated to the Ukraine. Hundreds of seeds, sustenance and beauty, the ever-changing way stems bend in the light, a reminder of the magnificence of life and grace. Not only are they alive, but the planet nourishes them with sunlight and rain. I was inspired by the sunflowers that I get to see in Vancouver, but also sunflowers remind me of the Ukraine and our hearts being there. Some of these were written to paintings. I'm friends with Julie Watson, a Bowen Island painter. And so we got together and I wrote, during COVID, she sent me the paintings she was doing of all those beautiful forest trails on Bowen Island. And I wrote poems to them. So this was about looking at the trees and the way they look when they're completely filled in the summer. And I called it Sky Flower. Branches mingle into buds, a canopy of butterflies setting sail, the blossoming of talent from a hidden cove of ideas, the work of the trunk to manifest largely the kernel within, to dream in blends and bends of sea-green world, the magnificence and relief of standing tall. We are fluorescent fronds of tree fish, swimming through phosphorescent foam to a clear path of what we deserve to be. The mysticism of color, aura of forest made tangible. Like ancient dragonflies, the esoteric heart of the world, tasting creation, we embrace permission and freedom to go directly to where we most need and want to be. An island cocoon of love, light, and safety. In the communion of trees we learn, steadily working, day by day, season by season, stretching branches to finally flourish, that self-actualization is for the good of all. Our growth protects others. The evolution of consciousness, mirroring meditation. And a few more of these are also for forests near me. These next two are for Cathedral Grove, which is on Vancouver Island. It's a protected forest of ancient trees near Port Alberni, and also a tourist destination that you can walk through. This is the Temple of Trees. Deep inside Cathedral Grove, I morphed into the heart of ancient cedar. Empyrean resin, an open path to the mysteries of the universe. Veins flow, leaves fall, gentle curves embrace entropy. Spread into earth, the birth canal we imagine death to be. My ashes journey to rich soil in the sinewy trunks of redwood. Palpable palms unveil the paradox. This journey a golden tunnel to the core. A moon carriage, the whole earth in its cradle. An embryo to another world. An inverse cocoon spiraling beyond the descent back. I meant to have the painting that was written to behind me, but it's on my other wall. I wonder if I should, maybe I'll just run and get it. Oh, no, I guess after I'll bring you over to it. But it's a painting of a redwood, and it's what it's like inside. I have been, in the middle of the pandemic and with climate change, I was thinking a lot more about ashes and death. But I was also thinking of going gently into the earth in a peaceful way. And my friend Jilly had painted what she thought the inside of the cedars look like, and she painted, what they look like. And they're just this beautiful, salmon color inside, if you look at the inside of a cedar. And I just find this great piece with how peacefully are these 800-year-old trees that still stand and live peacefully. So the next one is also to the trees, and I called it Evergreen Altar. And the fact that the place is called Cathedral Grove inspired me to use my Christian background with a lot of the names. Stay focused and strong in the saffron night, ashes sprinkled in soft trunks of naturally fallen cedar, a realm of rose highlights, sparkling in aurora borealis. Shadows won't catch you if you beam toward radiance, no longer manipulated by misguided obligation to enter any murkiness not meant for you. Inhale the auspicious candescence, infused with the scent of conifer, a candle along a pomelo path to your inner child. stream along starlit stones in forest soil, through blood vessel rivulets to dissolution, the return to nothing, reborn in light, arteries pulsating, universe creating, destination in sight. Flow to the heart, the inner transcendence of trees, a wrapped mummy in womb time bliss to eternity, one with the altar of earth. Go back to one more Ashes in Nature poem. Emancipation. I run through redwood to rich black earth, absorbing my ashes. Rainforest, reaping sky, body in sunlight, starlight and trees growing out of me, dawn and night, eternity in forest, cool air, ferns, cedar, home. Well, I thought we'd go back to my first book and read a couple of poems out of my first book, Rainforest and Russet, and then close with the last one, In Ordinary Light. And I've always been thinking about the forest fires, yes, with Rainforest and Russet, but also thinking that I want to celebrate the beauty of the forest and what we're protecting. So that's why I have these racked out the night. Over that. Okay. This one is Baptism, written to the ocean here in Vancouver. Bowing before Jericho Beach, twilight and rose, I dip delicately into the saline womb of the sea. Let ocean water flow through my fingertips. Pan across the Pacific horizon to the harbor, where the calls of gulls override the garrulous city behind. Salient pearl-capped waves entice the shore, wend along the winding coast, coalesce in memory, abrade the jagged rocks of my soul, wash over me as I await entrance. Transcendent touch of grace, trickling across the mosaic of broken shells, like a wind chime, sifts the remains, gently letting go of all I never needed. This next one is Take Flight. It was written during my friend's violin recital in a church, and it was just so nice to be unplugged. And the church had really nice acoustics, and I felt like people have been listening to violins in churches unplugged for about 6,000 years, or maybe not violins, but it just reminded me of how long people have been gathering without all of our electronics, and how nice it was to be unplugged. Take flight. From inside the cathedral, as red roses bloom into the ataraxia of summer days, the fragrance of perfumed peonies and rain, the wind brings in the window, a humbling beauty akin to the rich harmony of bows traversing the strings of violins in worship. Like Mary Magdalene hand-washing clothes, her palms cold and pink in the sanctity of starlit cypress in the night, let the deep purple jacaranda and earth through our feet align through the steeple to the temple and tempo of this sacred present moment. And I'll finish my reading with the last poem, In Ordinary Light, which is called I Embrace. I got to study with Juliana Spar at Goddard. She's one of my favorite echo poets. She also got me to, instead of polishing little tiny gems and really tiny pieces, which is what I was doing, she got me to let the writing be messy. I'm not going to read this whole long poem. I'm just going to read a few sections, but she got me to go with the theme like I embrace and just write whatever came and let the poetry be messy, let it go all over, let it do what it wanted to. And that was a really, it was a wonderful opening for me to just trust myself as a writer. This is I Embrace. I embrace the quiet of waiting, sunlight making rings on her fingers, the ocean on bare feet, waves lapping a sandy shore, a webbing of lace bubbles, wetting henna across my toes. I embrace the right to be me as culture collapses, skeletons imprinted in dust, slivers that scrape and scar. I embrace not knowing if universes reverse into oscillations of big bangs. Cosmic uncertainty, I embrace that it's enough to have known a glimmer of us. I embrace the falling of petals through time, light in all the ways it refracts, days entirely recalling. I embrace my witchy gray hair this long winter of COVID, when all I wanted was dream time uninterrupted. Awaiting petal, tendril after tendril of soft spring light. I embrace a life dimmed without you, meaning diminished, the moon and eclipse in the clouds. The time I have left, my sore body, long days of light, last lines of leaves, harvest lanterns, camel clouds across azure, the way daytime gently vibrates before I succumb to clean air, time, and sun. I embrace breath in and out, the flap of raven wings, a heartbeat, the exhalation of nothing into universe. I embrace green ivy and white-capped waves, a solstice offering, the foghorn's permission to rest. Restoration as I float in a spirit world of petals and light, this now of clean air, the way shadows bend to live gently for its own sake. I embrace shade and an empty calendar, orange streetlights, feet in warm sand, the log, us, the vibrations of your soul like the fluttering wings of a firefly, electrically alive. I embrace winding curves of dream time, tangerine reflections when the Pacific holds the sky, an undercurrent of him, this whole long day stretched out. Open the door, let the wind through, remember. So thank you so much for allowing me to read for so long.